What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Kubey Verijero. Now, this is a model that I've had in via the Lefty passaround group for probably a little bit more time than I should, if I'm being honest. I meant to get it done last week, and with the 4th of July and everything like that, some plans changed. And I know I told you guys I was going to have a full, week of filming. I unfortunately didn't. That's my fault. I only did I think just one video, and I didn't even film another unboxing because I got my Tempest Knives Fractus production version in. I carried this all weekend, and I was just literally so busy. Excuse me. I had 3 picnics to attend, and it was just very, very busy, and I knew I wasn't gonna have time, so I just opened that up, and I carried it all weekend. Fantastic knife. I'll probably do an update video because I did do like an overview / full review on the prototype of the Fractus. Love that knife. It is honestly in running for Knife of the Year for me. Casey, if you were watching this video, you killed it with that design. Such a good value for the price point and everything like that. But yeah, so I'm going to take my statement that I had last week with saying that I should have a full week of filming and put it into this week, because you guys are going to see this on Monday. Happy Monday. Hopefully you guys had a great holiday weekend with your friends, family, loved ones, had a good time, everything like that. Mine was awesome, super busy, but it just happened to fly by, and all the weekends do. But this should be a full week of filming. I have a lot of knives to review, starting with the Verijero. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. You guys can see this is a titanium frame lock model coming from Kubey. 14C28N on the blade right there. That is the designer's mark. Looks like a sheep. I'm not 100% sure who the designer is of this knife, but there you can see Kubey. Nice belt satin there, excuse me, on the blade. Hole for deployment. Interesting styling. It's, pretty squared off. And down here, it is very reminiscent of a Kivist Bladeworks knife with kind of the cutout right there. Here is the PE3. You guys can see, if I can get this lined up right, kind of, similar but different, but I like it for that reason with, ergos and everything like that. In the aesthetic standpoint, I think this knife it definitely grew on me. I was not the biggest fan of it getting it in, but the more I carried it, the more I fidgeted with it, and I was like, man, I actually really, really like this knife. Backspacer back here, anodized blue. You guys can see blue hardware with the pivot and the barrel spacer / pot clip and pot clip screw, as well as the insert screw. Yeah, just a nice streamlined design. Internal milling, there are 4 pockets on the show scale side and looks like 3 on the frame lock side. Let's give you guys some specs here. So overall length from tip to butt is coming in at 7.87 inches. Blade length is 3.35 inches, blade thickness of 0.12. Again, it's 14C28N, belt satin. Comes in weighing 3.92 ounces, but honestly, it feels lighter than that. I would guess this would be closer to 3.5 or even sub 3.5. I will leave a link to this knife, 2 White Mountain knives, down below if you guys are interested. Excuse me. It's been a while since I've talked on camera, so got to get the rust out. This version is currently unavailable, but there are 2 other versions available. 4 versions total. This one is out of stock, as well as the Flame Titanium or Tiger Anno one is out of stock. But the 2 that are in stock are just plain gray titanium with a black wash, and then a full blacked out version is also available. So I will leave a link to all of the versions down below. If you guys are interested, definitely go check them out. Of course, White Mountain Knives, use someone's code like Lefty10, get you 10% off, and that'll save you some money. But as far as materials go, titanium frame lock, 14C28N. It also has a front flipper. I did forget to mention that. A hole for deployment. I'm assuming this pot clip is reversible. You would just have to flip the clip and the screw with this and kind of just reverse it. I'm not 100% sure, but kind of a funky pot clip, but it's titanium clip. For the price and everything like that, no complaints at all. 5 out of 5. You guys know it has to be pretty rough when it comes to materials to, get anything less than a 5 on my rating scale. Get a quick swig of water. Next up, we're going to go over aesthetic. And like I said, this knife definitely grew on me after I got it in. It's not my most favorite looking knife in the world, but I definitely think it has a lot of really cool qualities. And honestly, when I look at it, I just see like a Chevy Avalanche or like a Hummer or something with like kind of this backrest right here. Maybe even like a Honda Ridgeline, some sort of like, off-road truck. Up front, you have just a simple drop point, but it has, a lot of belly to it. And this blade actually reminds me of the Luff Concepts. I think it's RWB, not the RWB. Is it the RWB? Yeah, just the way maybe the hole is and kind of how the blade is shaped. It just gives me those types of vibes, and that's something that I've kind of picked up on over the course of me handling the knife and obviously carrying it and everything like that. And like I said, not the best looking knife in my opinion. I don't think it's going to blow anyone's socks off. It doesn't blow my socks off, but I think it looks good, and I think I've definitely grown to like it for what it is. And for that, I'm going to give it a 4.5. Again, not a perfect knife, but really nice and really clean when you look at the overall lines. And everything about it, I just think looks very solid. So 4.5 out of 5 on the aesthetic. Next up is the action. The action is very, very solid. The detent you get nice and snappy. You guys probably cannot hear this super duper well. It's not overly loud, but it is snapping back into place. Of course, it's a frame lock. Thumb flick, reverse flick comes out of there very, very nice. Thumb flick is honestly a little bit harder than the reverse flick to kind of get down because you have to be careful of where you're at on the lock bar. Reverse flick just bangs right out of there. Thumb flick, it's pretty easy to use. You just kind of have to be aware of where you're at. And it's not like the widest hole, it's kind of skinny. So I just kind of shove my thumb, the pad of my thumb, right up into the corner right there. And usually 9 times out of 10 it fires right out. See if we can do 3 in a row. There's 2, 3. So, it's just like every knife, you just have to get used to, the pressure and specific ways of holding the knife. But as far as middle finger flick and a thumb flick, they work great. Great detent. You can slow roll it out as long as you are, again, not putting too much pressure on the lock bar. And then, of course, you have the front flipper, which fires out with authority. Very, very loud. Very, very solid. Try a lefty. You can thumb flick it lefty. You can reverse flick it. You just have to get down off of the lock bar, which is pretty common knowledge. It's not the easiest to do. There we go. And then, of course, the front flip works pretty well. Lefty as well. So everything considered, the action, the closing action, a little bit of blade play, but I've had this for probably a month or so, if not more. I have fidgeted with this thing a ton. Look at that, just buttery smooth action with a frame lock. You typically, see more of the drop shot action, or not necessarily the guillotine action, but you see more of this with like liner locks and stuff like that. Because of course, when this is closed like this, the frame lock is putting pressure on the blade, but you're still getting able to have that buttery smooth close. Just very, very fun to fidget with. And I have really grown accustomed to, reaching for this knife out of all the other loaners I've had in. So the Verijero is getting a 5 out of 5 on the action. Next up is acoustics. Very, very solid flicks and sounds and thwacks. Again, it's just you're not getting that high-pitched kind of rings that you typically look for with, tie frame locks that have internal milling, because usually they are very acoustically sound. And don't get me wrong, this is very, very nice, very solid. When you bang out that front flipper, it thunders out of there. But again, you're just not getting that high pitch, so I can't give it a 5 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think that's very fair. It's very good in the acoustic department, just not perfect. So kind of similar to the aesthetic. it's really close, just not getting there. So 4.5 on the acoustics. Next up is ergos. Now you can obviously use this landing area up here. It's kind of like a 75-25 choil to choke up. But choking back, I can still get all 4 fingers in this knife very, very easily. Has a nice little thumb ramp right there with jimping. My thumb lands there perfectly. You also can go stretch out more if you want more power behind your push cuts. But this is a very, very comfortable grip. Very neutral. The handle, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you have a straight line. It tapers up here, straight line, straight line. I mean, it's a lot of just straightness, and to me, that makes for a very, very comfortable ergonomic experience. The pot clip is, kind of comes up right here, but all things considered, it's pretty flush to the scale. When I'm choked back, it lands literally right in like the groove of my fingers, so it's not causing a hot spot at all. Very, very comfortable. The titanium is chamfered in all the right areas. Just makes for a really, really, again, good ergonomic experience. Of course, you can choke up, so your middle finger goes right here, your second finger goes right, or your ring finger goes right here, and your pinky follows suit. Pointer finger wraps up around here on the choil, thumb goes right here on the ramp, and of course you can push it up even farther for, again, more power behind those push cuts. But this is also very, very comfortable. And honestly, I can't decide which one is more comfortable, choked up or choked back, because honestly, normally you would say choked up is a little bit more comfortable because you kind of get up off the pot clip and you just get a little bit more grippage up here. But all things considered, this is a very, very comfortable choked back grip. Again, the titanium is nicely done. It's chamfered in all the right areas, has rounding in all the right areas. Pot clip not causing an issue at all. I got to go 5 out of 5 here on the Verijero when it comes to ergos. Now, next up is carry. Now, I can tell you right now, this is not going to get a 5 out of 5 on the carry simply because this is, not the best pot clip in the world. It looks okay from an aesthetic standpoint. I'm not, the biggest fan of it. I don't love spoon clips that, start here and then the clip starts below it. That just is dumb in my opinion. You have about that much sticking about your pocket. Not the end of the world, but if they would have just done, some sort of deep carry clip, or I would even preferred a normal milled clip instead of like this bent one. I'm just not a huge fan of it. It goes in a pocket okay. I mean, you have a nice little amount of, detent or, whatever you want to call it down here. My brain's blanking on the word I'm looking for. Pressure, force, whatever you want to call it. So it goes in a pocket okay, sits down here like this. You have no flipper tab or anything like that to possibly, catch on with your hand when you go down in there to get change, chapstick, whatever you might be carrying floating around in your pocket. You have no risk of when you come up out of there possibly catching this and pulling it up out with you. So that's good. I think it might be reversible if you just flip this around. Not 100% sure, so I'm going to kind of leave that up in the air. But it carries okay. Again, it comes in at 3.92 inches or ounces, excuse me. It carries lighter than that, in my opinion. I think it carries, closer to 3.5, if not sub 3.5. So it's a very nice, medium-sized knife to carry. No issues whatsoever. I carry this in, gym shorts and my bird dogs a lot, my khakis. No issues whatsoever. But the pot clip just kind of bugs me, and it's still up in the air for reversible. So I'm going to go 4 out of 5 on the pot clip and the carry. That leads me to my final category of price point / value and would I recommend this knife. So like I said earlier in the video, I will leave a link to this knife, 2 White Mountain knives down below. This version is unfortunately not currently in stock, but if you guys are interested, I would definitely wait and try to get it off White Mountain Knives. You can save some money. Or if you can get the 2 that are in stock, which are cheaper for some reason I don't fully understand, go for one of those. But the Verijero, this specific version, comes in at $118. I think that's a very, very fair price for what you're asking for this knife. This one is $118. The Flame titanium version is $118. And then the fully blacked out, which is still titanium and 14C, and then the blacked out blade and hardware with the plain tie version. Those are both $100. I think those are very, very good values because then you could stack someone's code and get that down close to $90, and I think that's a very, very good deal. But as it stands right now, $118 for this, I have no issues with it. I mean, it's a tie frame lock, 14C28N, which is, probably a steel you more likely see sub $100, but, I think I think 14C is a great steel. Anything sub, $125 in that area. I still think that's a very fair price for it. I compare this, knife directly to the Devo Knives Mash. This is the Mash. I'm having a brain fart. It's the only Devo knife I've kept in my collection over the years. But I think this is the Mash. Again, 14C 28N, titanium liner lock, and this was like $125. I think this was made by Kubey. So very, very comparable. I think that's a great deal. Again, tie frame lock, 14C, 2 ways of deploying the knife with a thumb hole as well as a front flipper. That's a great value in my opinion, and Kubey really has, I feel like, stepped up their game. And like I say in a lot of videos, the gap between Riot and QSP, Kubey, Beztech, all these other OEMs are, is really, really closing, and it's getting very, very close in my honest opinion. So I think value slash, price point slash would I recommend this knife. I can recommend this knife to anybody. If you guys like the design, you're going to love the knife. So I got to go 5 out of 5 and end this review pretty strong. So let me count this up here real quick for you guys. Alrighty, guys. So the Kubey Knives Verijero is landing in at 33, which lands it right in the fantastic category. Not perfect, but definitely damn close. And I think that is a very, very fair score for it. Again, I have really grown to enjoy this knife, and I think I'm going to miss this one. I'm not saying I'm going to go pick one of these up right away, because I have some other knives I'm kind of holding out for and waiting to spend my money on. But I think this is a great budget knife, and I would honestly get one of those $200 versions. I could use someone's code and make it $700, and then we're cooking with peanut oil, guys. I think this is a great budget knife. I think this is, if you like the design, great value, great materials, great action, great ergo. It's just a great all-around knife, and I think Kubey knocked it out of the park there. So big fan of the Verijero. Again, coming in at 33 points, landing it in the fantastic category, and I think that's very, very fair for this model. So get a little thumbnail right there for you guys. Sometimes I hold it up to the camera too much, and then I have a hard time. I put it up like this and I pull it away, and I'm like, I can't get a thumbnail for it. So, but huge shout out to Kevin over at Lefty DC for allowing us to check this out. And I apologize to anybody after me that is, I know I've been slow getting this knife out, but I should get it out this week to you guys, or to the next person. And yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up now. Please leave a comment down below. Have you guys picked up a Verijero? Have you been considering it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? I would love to hear what you guys have to say. So yeah, but I'm going to wrap this up now. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, day, night, whenever you're watching this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.